Last year was undoubtedly one of the best years for OTOME players. We saw multiple releases from a handful of publishers. From Idea Factory's highly anticipated localization of Birushana, to Prototype's English release of Taisho Alice All-in-One and Butterfly's Poison Blood Chains, to the handful of releases by Axis. Last year was a goldmine for OTOME players. 2022 was also a year that I was lucky enough to be able to play a relatively large amount of OTOME games, closing the year with around 10 titles under my belt. I was able to keep up with many of the newest releases, managed to clear up a bit of my backlog, and by December, I was finally ready to bring the year to a close. But I knew I wanted to play just one more title, and that game was Lover Pretend. Lover Pretend was developed by Design Factory and Automate, and published by Idea Factory with its initial Japanese release in March of 2021, and was later published in the West by Axis on December 1st of 2022. Prior to its release, I hadn't seen or heard very much about this game. I had only checked out the trailer and read the synopsis on Axis's website. But from what I had gathered, it looked like this otome would be a cute slice-of-life rom-com. As I'm personally a massive fan of wholesome, heart-clutching, shoujo-styled romance, I was eager to see if this would meet my expectations. So without further ado, let's dive right in and see what this game is all about. Lover Pretend follows Chiyuki, a university student who is studying to become a scriptwriter like her late mother. When her mentor presents an opportunity to participate in a movie production, she jumps at the opportunity for two reasons. One, to get more experience and enhance her skills as a scriptwriter, and two, to find out who her father is. You see, Chiyuki was raised only by her mother and grandmother, and the only clue she has about her father's identity is that he worked in a made-for-TV film production with her mother not long before she was born. Now, when Chiyuki learns that most of the cast of the current production she'll be working for also worked in the same movie that brought her parents together, she's more determined than ever to figure out who her father is once and for all. There are 4 main suitors and 1 unlockable route. I'll only be discussing the 4 main love interests, as I don't want to spoil the unlockable character for you, although they've advertised this man to high heaven, so he might as well be a regular love interest at this point, but I'm just gonna skip over that, in case you guys would like to go into this game spoiler-free. I'll introduce the characters in the order that I played them in, but in all honesty, I personally don't believe there's any specific route order, so please feel free to play the characters in the order that you want to. Alright, first up we have Chiyuki's childhood friend Kazuma. These two have been inseparable since middle school, and he is considered to be Chiyuki's closest friend, if not her only friend. Kazuma is now a hair and makeup stylist, and ends up getting hired for the same movie production Chiyuki's working for, which means there's no short supply of encounters these two have together. He's cheerful and optimistic, always encouraging Chiyuki and giving her the push she needs to chase her goals. He's also the biggest goofball I've ever seen. He gives me the same energy as Mineo from Collar Malice, so speaking as a fellow Mineo enthusiast, if you enjoyed him, you're going to absolutely love Kazuma. Next up is Harumi. He's the son of the director of the current movie production, and works alongside Chiyuki as an assistant. Chiyuki considers his father a potential candidate for her father because he was the director that worked on the same production as her mother before she was born. At first glance, Harumi has a very calm and quiet disposition, but is secretly harboring a hidden passion. And once Chiyuki discovers his secret, she begins to see the real Harumi that's not known to many. He is the literal definition of don't judge a book by its cover. Then we have Yukito, a model and potential actor for the upcoming movie Chiyuki is working for. He is the son of the producer that worked on the same film as Chiyuki's mother, another possible candidate for Chiyuki's father. Yukito has a laid-back, easygoing personality, not to mention looks that are adored by hundreds, if not thousands of fans. With Yukito, you can tell that flirting comes as easily as breathing to him, but you can't help think there's more to him lying just underneath that swoon-worthy expression he wears. Lastly, we have Riku. a renowned actor whose father acted in the same film as Chiyuki's mother worked on years ago. Known for his many roles in both movies and television shows, he never fails to portray each character perfectly, and is known for his kind and gentle personality. As far as the public knows, with Riku, what you see is what you get.
Or is it?
As the game's title suggests, during each route, Chiyuki will find herself caught up in the act of pretending to be in a relationship with each suitor, each for varying reasons which you'll learn about as you play through said routes. Now, with every route generally consisting of the same thing, that being Chiyuki pretending to be in a relationship with one of the suitors, all while trying to discover who her father is, you would expect each route to feel repetitive, but that wasn't the case at all. This game brilliantly found a way to stick to the same theme while simultaneously finding new ways to keep each route fresh and exciting by its vastly diverse love interests and the different experiences Chiyuki has with each suitor. Of course, as this is a rom-com, there are some classic tropes you'll see every now and then. I mean, Kazuma's route had me thinking I was watching a K-drama during the later half of his story. But despite that, Lover Pretend never felt slow-paced or boring. I was always dying to find out what would happen next to Chiyuki and her partner. At the time of playing Lover Pretend, I couldn't get enough of this game, and I finished it in the span of 1 week. Did I stay up way too late playing it? Yes. Should I have taken more breaks while playing this game? Probably. Do I regret my decision blasting through this game? Absolutely not. Each route, excluding the secret route, has 7 chapters, with chapters 1 to 3 consisting of the common route. Each route has a happy, a good, and a handful of minor bad endings. Which brings me to my next point. In this game, there are no bad ending CGs. This game puts a lot more focus on the good and happy endings, while the bad endings were mainly just little snippets to let you know that you've made the wrong choices. While I personally don't mind playing bad or tragic endings in games, I know there are many players that don't like going anywhere near them, which I completely understand. The great thing about this game is that you don't have to play the bad endings to find out any key information that you may have missed in the main route. It's all explained in the happy and good endings, along with all the unlockable CGs. So if you don't want to experience the bad endings, by all means don't. You won't be missing anything, and you can continue to live in Lover Pretend bliss. Moving on to the game's love catch system, it's quite simple. When you make a positive choice to raise affection, you'll see a clover appear on screen. If you make a poor choice, you won't see anything at all. Now, while all that so far seems straightforward, Lover Pretend has its own unique addition called the Pretend Time. These are timed events where you must select a multiple choice answer to achieve some sort of goal for each timed event. The goal could be something like convincing friends or coworkers you're in a relationship with your suitor, or trying to uncover your love interest's true feelings. For instance, in the first 20 minutes of the game, you must convince a server at a restaurant that Chiyuki and Kazuma are a couple so you can get a discounted couples meal. These timed events were really fun, and not going to lie, some of these had me sweating bullets. I would be sitting there panicking, trying to rack my brain with the best answer I could come up with, and believe me, there were many times I failed and had to restart. During these events, the screen itself will look like a puzzle board. If you select a correct answer, puzzle pieces will disappear to reveal the image on screen. And if you make a poor choice, more puzzle pieces will fill up the screen. If you completely fail the event and the image ends up completely covered, it will ultimately lead to a bad ending. So please be cautious while playing and utilize this game's feature of saving before each event. It will really help you in the long run, especially if you plan on 100% completing the game. Additionally, once you complete a route, you can set the pretend time to either a successful result or a bad result, which again will help you breeze through all those endings and future replays. Like most games from OTOME, there are some extra goodies once you finish the game. As you play through, you'll unlock voiced profile cards for each love interest, and backstage scenes, which are little short stories between the love interests and other characters in the game. Once you complete a route, you'll unlock a short story of a scene in the respective love interest's route that will be told in the perspective of the suitor. As for this game's playing time, it took me roughly 5 hours to complete each of the 4 main suitors, and the unlockable route only took me about 2 hours to finish. After playing all the unlockables and completing each ending, I clocked in roughly around 30 hours. I thought it found that perfect sweet spot of gameplay length. Not too long, but certainly not too short either. Now, one thing that I still can't get enough of is this game's artwork. This is strictly my own personal opinion, but it has some of the most gorgeous CGs, especially in Riku's route. I am a massive fan of pink and light pastel colors, and this game's color palette just speaks to me mind, body, and soul. I've never screenshotted so many stills in a game so far than I have with Lover Pretend. The artist that worked on this title also worked with OTOME recently too, with a Japanese release of Sympathy Kiss, and you can definitely see the similarities in their work. One thing I did notice though while playing is that some of the character sprites reminded me of another game, and for the longest time I couldn't figure out where it was from. It was on the tip of my tongue, and I was really racking my brain trying to figure out just where on earth I had seen something similar. And then it hit me when I saw this sprite from Kazuma. He looks just like Orion from Amnesia, so of course I immediately had to check the artist, and sure enough, the artist that worked on the chibi art in this game also took part in not only Amnesia, but Collar Malice too. It just goes to show how each artist has their own unique flavor, so to speak, and I love when I'm able to recognize an artist's work in different games simply by their style. At this point, I'm going to sound like a broken record when I say that the voice actors did a phenomenal job. So instead of saying that, I'm going to highlight which voice actor I loved the most in this game. And that award has to go to Makoto Furukawa, who voices Kazuma. Seriously, these past few years for us OTOME fans have been blessed for OTOME characters played by Furukawa. From playing the smooth-talking Alan in Cupid Parasite, to the stone-faced older brother Yoritomo in Birushana, to the goofy, lovable best friend Kazuma in Lover Pretend. This guy was pulling out all the stops in these games, and every time I see him portray a new character, I'm always in awe at the range this man has. Something that I really want to touch on in this video was how well the translation was done on this game. I think it's one of the best localizations we've had to date. Off of the top of my head, I can't remember seeing any errors, and if there were any, they would have been so minor that I didn't even notice. Not only did the translators do a wonderful job grammar-wise, but I found they did a great job adapting phrases to fit current English expressions, which is no easy feat. So, hats off to the translators, y'all deserve a raise for this one. Now, as always in my reviews, here's the hard-hitting question. Who was my favorite character? Well, you may have noticed by now how much I've mentioned a specific character, so it may come as no surprise that my favorite suitor is none other than Kazuma. A trope that I never get tired of is the childhood friend, and this game just proved yet again why I love this trope. I love when the main character and the love interest have grown up together, have already experienced the good times and the bad together, and can recognize when something is off with one another. Kazuma is always there to give Chiyuki the push she needs to pursue her goals, and never fails to pick up on her subtle hints when something is awry in her life, whether it be something in her personal life or when she's having a hard time at work. And by all means, Kazuma is not perfect. No one is. But as his route progresses, you get to see his character develop as he evaluates what he really wants and his true feelings for Chiyuki. This man once again solidified my love for the childhood friend trope, and that is why, as we speak, I am packing my bags and making my way up the hill that I will die on for Kazuma. Moving on from my absolute adoration of Kazuma, I need to take a moment to speak about Chiyuki. There are two main characters from 2022 that stole the show for me, and Chiyuki is one of them. She is the most realistic, down-to-earth main character I've ever seen in an otome. Now, of course, that is to be expected, seeing as this is a modern-day slice-of-life otome game, but there's a couple different reasons as to why I love her so much. One factor is her age. With Chiyuki being a 20-year-old in university and juggling a part-time job on the side, she's already a lot more similar to me than a 16-year-old high school student who knows next to nothing outside of life at school. She already has real-life experiences and can look at situations with more of a level head than a teenager easily swayed by their emotions, and that made it easier for me to connect to the emotional side of Chiyuki. Another thing that I could really connect with on a more personal level was Chiyuki's family and how she grew up. Not in a literal sense, of course, but I myself remember growing up with a single parent to later getting a part-time job as soon as I could help contribute to the family. And that was yet another way that made me find Chiyuki all the more relatable, especially when she would talk about not having time to hang out with friends because she had to go to her part-time job, or her just getting excited over a sale on milk that day at the grocery store. It's times like those that I could almost painfully relate to her, but that made her all the more endearing to me. I thought that she was a very well-written main character, whose character development was thoroughly fleshed out during each and every route, and I wouldn't want to change anything about her. Chiyuki has officially become my #1 best girl in my books, and I think it's going to be very hard to knock her out of that spot. Best of luck to the future contenders. Now let's move on to my final thoughts. Do I recommend this game? Yes, 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 1,000 times yes. So much so that I would recommend this game to any and every Otome player, especially if you're new to this visual novel genre. I think this is one of the few titles that everyone can enjoy, whether you're new to playing Otome games or are a seasoned veteran at this point. Lover Pretend has a unique charm that I believe will appeal to anyone and everyone. Finally, if I had to give this game my personal rating, I would give it the most wholesome, well-deserved 9 out of 10. It's been a few months now since I finished this title, and I keep thinking back on it to see if my opinion has changed, or if I would have liked to have seen anything different. But even now, I can't think of a single thing that I disliked. From the plot, to the characters, to the art and music composition, I don't find a single aspect lacking in this game. Now, some people may not hold this Otome in as high regards as I do, but I think the reason why this game is so near and dear to my heart is because I find that Lover Pretend is almost akin to my favorite rom-com movie. I don't know about you guys, but I have one specific movie that I'll turn to time and time again for comfort because it never fails to leave me feeling warm and fuzzy. I don't care if I've seen it so much that I could recite the script in its entirety, it never gets old and always leaves a smile on my face. And that is the exact same feeling I get with Lover Pretend. I'm already itching to play this game again, so I know it'll be an Otome that I'll be returning to soon enough, and I just hope that many other players will find the same comfort in this game as I do. So I hope this review helped persuade you to give this game a go. If you guys have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you guys gave it a like, and if you'd like to stick around and see more from me, then please feel free to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful week, you're staying safe, and I will talk to you all very soon. Bye!